Thank you for joining our webinar today. For those of you who joined earlier, sorry for waiting, but I want to wait for everybody. So, happy spring to everybody. Finally, we have some sun in Bulgaria. I'm hoping it would be sunny and it would kill all the COVID in Europe so we can enjoy the spring, the summer, and the year overall. Uh, the webinar that we're organizing today, it's Hello Tax only because the one-stop shop, it's a very important topic. I have been receiving inquiries from partners, clients, and connections for a long time. So we decided to organize that thanks to our top expert, Chris Hara, who would be speaking about the one-stop shop because compared to Brexit, the one-stop shop it's like a walk in the park. So obviously, I mean it's much different. It's the biggest VAT regime change since this was established in Europe. So thank you again for joining. If you guys have any questions, make sure that you type them in the chat and we'll answer all of the questions in the end. So Chris, let's start with the presentation. And thank you for taking the time to do that because I know you're very, very busy. But I think this is very important, so I'm sure you enjoy it. So thanks again.
Thanks, Nick. Yes, Actually, it's such an important topic. One of the key changes that will happen in this year, the Brexit that you mentioned was the first one that we needed to handle at the beginning of the year. But this one is, I would say, quite a big one as well, which we should definitely we should explain. We should share what we now know. So I'm happy to be able to do that. So let's go through a couple of slides that we prepared here. Briefly through the agenda, we will be looking at what challenges will actually OSS bring to online sellers, so what VAT IDs are still required, what are the regulations for EU companies, and some special regulations for non-EU companies. And then we have this time that you mentioned for Q&A, and hopefully we're gonna have some points at least require, or that will be good if they would have some examples. So real questions, real case questions are the ones that we could definitely go through that point and would be very useful, I think, for everyone once we analyze them. Good. So how do we stand with the situation? Well, from an online seller perspective, there will be certain changes that will happen that will be introduced the 1st July, and they will change a bit the way that business operates. And definitely that means that the certain company should be able to adapt their business, or at least it might require some analysis and some strategy changes that are relevant in that manner. The problem is there is a lot of information everywhere, but not that clear, not that easy to map, let's say, with your own business. Therefore, here we are with this webinar. Let's start from the most important question. If we talk about OSS, then what is the place or what is the country where we are going to report this OSS report, which we are now all talk about? Here, if we could separate it in two types of companies, clients, let's say. The ones that are based in EU, they will need to have this registration done in their home country. So in the country when they have been established, rather than the one or any other one that they are VAT registered. So only the country of establishment. For non-EUs, however, well, they don't have a country in which they are established in EU. They only have those VAT registrations. So they have an option. They have an option to choose from one of those countries where they are registered. They could choose a one that they're going to use for OSS reporting. That choice is important to know that choice is valid for the year that they make it plus the next 2 years. Yeah? There are certain situations where this can change, because obviously if you deregister in a certain country completely your VAT, you close your business in that country, and you have another one where you have still an active VAT number, then in such situations, you can still move, let's say, this OSS reporting to the other country. What precisely actually is going to be reported? Or let's say, if you look at the VAT IDs and the registration part to VAT in general, will OSS change anything? Well, here it's a pretty straightforward answer, although there's a lot of confusion, I would say, on everywhere on the web and between this online sellers. You anyway always need to have a VAT number in the country from which you sell. So as part of OSS reporting, and actually the structure of the report and all the mandatory fields, they have been already defined by the EU with all those changes that were introduced. And one of the fields that is required is, for example, the VAT ID of the dispatch country, which does not have to be your home country. Yeah, it can be any other country. It doesn't have to be your OSS reporting country. It can be any other country where you store your goods. Yeah? Which type of transactions are going to be included or are actually included in OSS reporting? Well, OSS is a report that is addressed to just one type of transaction, which has been actually also in those changes rephrased. Yeah? We were saying previously, we were saying distance sales. Yeah? Now we say intra-community distance sales. Yeah? And that's that type of transaction. Intra-community, why? Because it's cross-border. It's between two countries. So any distance sale as well, it's also important to mention here, I guess. Distance sale is only applicable, especially if it's actually cross-border here. We can precisely point to that. If it's cross-border distance sale, it can only be called distance sale if it's not to a business. Yeah, if you are selling to a business registered customer, that's an intra-community supply or acquisition, so intra-community transaction, a different thing. But if you sell to a physical person, then we say it's a distance sale. Example, selling to a physical person, to a normal, let's say, customer from Poland to Germany. Yeah? This type of transaction will go to OSS. If you store as well, let's say in Spain, and you make a sale from Spain to a French customer, then this transaction will also go to your OSS report. At one country and in one report, we have to merge all those cross-border B2C sales. What does that mean? That basically means that obviously everything else, so like domestic sale to clients, to customers, normal physical persons, or any B2B sale or any goods movements, everything needs to be still reported in the country that you store. And that's, I think, a very important thing, because many people confuse the OSS changes as something that is going to take out the reporting obligations in all countries. It's not the case. OSS reporting stands only for this type of transaction that we just mentioned. So B2C, intra-community, cross-border sale. Yeah? Now, there is also a certain change in thresholds, actually. I think all e-commerce sellers now are familiar with how things operate in that manner currently, that there are distance say threshold limits for France, for Spain, the biggest one for Germany, 100,000 euro. And once you cross it, even if you don't store goods, in that country, you have to register and pay the VAT in that country. Now, all those threshold limits are going to be actually abolished and replaced by only one threshold limit, an EU threshold limit, but also only available to EU companies, clients that have only one place of storage. Which means that if you are a EU multi-storage client or a non-EU client, you basically are, let's say, above the threshold with the first transaction that you do. Example, non-EU client or EU client with multi-storage has a warehouse in Poland, let's say in Germany, yeah. They are shipping a product, or one of them is shipping a product from Poland to Austria. They are not OSS registered. The transaction happens after 1st July, which means that there is no threshold limit for them. And they have to register for VAT in Austria, and they have to make all the report related to any transactions that will take place. However, if they would register to OSS, they would not have to register in Austria. That's the thing that to keep in mind. Threshold limits are going to be abolished, but there is a way out of registering to the destination country in which you don't store, which is the OSS reporting. So although it says, it's being said that you have an option, it's not mandatory for you to register under OSS. It just makes all the sense to do that. Yeah? There is a special regulation for online marketplaces that comes also with the 1st July. And here we have two transactions that are relevant. One are only applicable for non-EU sellers, which is the B2C within EU, where actually the marketplace will be the one collecting the VAT. And the second transaction is applicable for everyone. And it happens at the moment where the goods are being shipped from outside of EU to a EU customer, and they are below the threshold of 150 euro, yeah, below or equal actually, yeah. So everything that is above 150 will anyway go with the normal process, normal custom clearance, but everything below will actually and sold via a marketplace, which will be actually considered as a deemed supplier. We'll go to that, what that means and how to recognize it. We know, we can tell that in case of selling via Amazon, for example, this would be applicable. So in that situation, the transaction that will happen will have similar to the first transaction. It will have certain steps. The end result will be similar. Some steps are different in those two transactions. As the shipping from outside EU to EU customer is a bit aside of the scope of normal VAT reporting in that country, we will not go in details to this kind of transactions. We're going to focus on the first ones. So non-EU sellers storing in EU, having their warehouses, and making sales inside EU through online marketplaces similar to Amazon. In this situation, we have the first transaction when actually the sales happen. So we have a customer that buys your product and makes the payment. The moment the payment arrives to Amazon, Amazon will, or an online marketplace will, preferably, I would say, self-invoice themselves. They will create an invoice. In the regulations, it says that the invoice needs to be issued. It might be that the seller is issuing it, but I would say in respect of the next step, it will be the online marketplace that will be self-invoicing themselves, which means that they will issue a invoice without the VAT, but only for the value, the net value of the sale. How will they define the net value? Well, depending on what is the destination country related to that sale, so where the client is actually, because they will be the ones selling it to the client. The seller will be selling it to the online marketplace, the product, and then Amazon or online marketplace, any other marketplace, will be selling it to the final client. What will be the consequence of it is that the online seller will get only the net amount, and the VAT payment lays on the online marketplace's side. Yeah. That's in a nutshell this transaction, how it will look like if we have this online marketplace as a place of sales. And I think it's also important to make you aware that this deduction that will take place of let's say this VAT, you have to you have to consider that this will not take away your VAT obligations in that country. Yeah, because that's also something that is quite confusing for online sellers, especially from non-EU. They might think that this means that Amazon will deal with my VAT and I'm fine, I don't have to bother about that topic anymore. Unfortunately, this does not mean that you don't have to have a VAT registration. If you store your products inside EU, you have to have a VAT registration in that country. And you have to, anyway, include those invoices, that, or this invoice, actually the first one, in your report. Yeah? That's the part of, let's say, how the transaction works, and then how to define whenever we are talking about a deemed supplier. So what is the moment where this online marketplace will become liable for my VAT? Yeah? First thing is, you have to ask yourself that question. Actually, this will be done more by the online marketplaces, but just to give you a certain understanding. So if an online marketplace is participating in at least one of those three that we have here mentioned in the first level of validation, so terms and conditions, authorizing the charging to the customer, ordering or delivering of goods, one of them is enough to be considered as a deemed supplier if, on top of that, the marketplace offers more than one of the services that we have mentioned here on the second level of validation. So payment processing, listing on advertising the goods, redirecting the customers to other marketplaces where the goods are offered without any further involvement in the sale. So let's look at two examples. We have a sale that happens on Amazon terms and conditions, authorizing, ordering, delivering. Yeah, let's say this is an FBA client. Amazon also ships the products. We definitely have the first level of validation. Then we have the second level of validation, and they are offering payment processing and listing and advertising of the goods. It's it. Yeah, we have it defined. What about a situation where you will sell on your own website and just store with Amazon? Well, in this case, Amazon is participating in delivering of the goods, but is not in payment processing, listing, or advertising the goods. And the last point, redirecting the customers. So in this case, We are not talking about a situation where they would be liable for the VAT. You still will be liable yourself. You know, you sell through your own website, and Amazon is just a place where you store your goods. You know? I think that this covers the part of introduction to the topic. We would definitely love to hear more from you. And if you require any consultation, please feel free to contact us. I think it's now the time for the Q&A part.
Yeah, we have plenty of questions.
All right, let's then
Okay,
go
so
for it.
can you hear me properly, by the way?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'll start with the first one. Okay, let me find it here. Okay, so the first one. I am a French EU seller. Cross-border sales are more than 10,000 euro. I have my own website. The goods are located in my own warehouse in France at the moment of the online sale. Do I report the French VAT on my French sales, on my normal VAT return, or will France be listed in the OSS return?
Okay. So let me just read that through again. The goods are located in my own warehouse in France at the moment of the online sale. Do I report? Right. Okay. So after you are then an example of an EU seller storing in one country. So this 10,000 threshold is, you are here correct, is applicable for you. You can have it. Above this 10K, you would need to pay the VAT in every country you ship to. So in this case, this is not French sales anymore after 1st July, because it's actually sales that belongs to the destination country. In other words, it is strongly advised for you to lower your administrative costs, to register for OSS in France, and report all that sale that you do from sales from the warehouse in France to any other country within that OSS report. That will allow you to be not to be pushed or obligated to register for a registration in all the countries you ship to. If you don't register to OSS, in other words, if you don't register to OSS, if you ship a product from France to Germany, then you would need to register in Germany and pay that VAT in Germany, make a return there, you know, all the reporting, everything. Yeah, that's this. A lot of people talk about simplification that comes with OSS, and that is more addressed to companies like you that have only one place of storage, and because of this OSS simplification, you don't have to care about threshold limits anymore. Yeah.
Okay, so actually, this what Cecile is just confirming that the sales are from France to French sellers.
Well, if they are from France only to, but there was a, I think in the comment there was mentioned that the cross-border, or was there not, above 10K, I understood. But if the sale happens within the same country, we do the reporting of those transactions in that country return. So building up on that question, if you are selling from your French warehouse, so the products are being shipped from your French warehouse to a French customer, this is a sale that you don't do in OSS, you do in your VAT return in France.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So let's answer some of the other questions. So the next one, let me just, okay, so this is from Mark. We're registered in Netherlands, but ship from EU, I assume Luxembourg. So OSS in Netherlands. Currently, we pay VAT in Luxembourg as we do not reach the threshold. From July 1st, we have to pay VAT of each member state we ship to, obviously different rates, through the OSS in Netherlands, as we have less than 10K sales throughout Europe. I'll actually copy you the question as well in the chat.
Okay, all right. So we have here an example of a company which I guess is okay. They are from Luxembourg, right? So this is a case where you do not ship the products from Netherlands, but from Luxembourg, right? And in this case, you are not, yeah, you cannot, you hear the question. So OSS in Netherlands, right? OSS in Netherlands would make sense if you would be shipping your products from Netherlands to multiple countries. Then it makes sense, because then obviously you are avoiding those registrations. But if you are shipping them from Luxembourg, then in this case, I don't feel that I don't maybe I'm confusing the question here, but I don't see the point of OSS registration here.
Okay, so that's another like a second question from Mark. So, what is the chance the EU postpones the OSS regulation? Obviously, no, we know that they did it a few times, but this one they're not. They told all the countries that they need to be ready for July. And another question from Mark: is the deemed supplier for a marketplace validation also valid for EU supplier?
For EU supplier,
Yeah.
the deemed supplier topic is a topic one if they are shipping their products from outside EU to EU.
Okay.
That's our current understanding, based on the changes that was introduced to EU directive.
Okay, here is another question from Kevin. I work for an accountant who have many Amazon seller clients. Is it possible to discuss a few things after this meeting? As you mentioned, information is tough to find online, so it would be great to get some information. Yes, Kevin, after the event, we will send the recording, and then you have our contacts, so you can book a call with me or our sales consultants, and we can discuss further about your inquiry. So another question from Nuno. I am a Portuguese company, but the goods are located in Germany. OSS report should be in Portugal or in Germany.
Okay. Where's the question? Sorry.
I am a Portuguese company, but the goods are located in Germany. OSS report should be in Portugal or in Germany.
No. For that's one of the slides that we had. If you are a Portuguese company, then your home country is Portugal. And what we now know is that you only can register in Portugal for OSS. However, your sales that will take place from Germany to any other country will be reported in that OSS report. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Another question from S. Han. From what I understand, sales from Amazon Pan-EU program are generally excluded from the OSS, right?
One more time. Sorry,
Okay.
please.
From what I understand, sales from the Amazon Pan-EU program are generally excluded from the OSS, correct?
I don't know why would they be.
Okay, so they're not.
Are we talking about a non-EU client here? And
I guess
in case,
we don't know yet from the question.
because maybe that if the question is, let's say, given to us by a non-EU client, so if that's a situation that we need to analyze for a non-EU client who is selling only via Amazon, then indeed the OSS registration might not be relevant for that type of a company, because all they will do is selling their products to Amazon in the country where they store, and actually Amazon will be the one sending it to the final client. But that's only applicable for non-EU clients, not for EU clients.
Okay, thanks, Chris. That's done. So another question from Thomas. Hey, Tom, actually, we're going to have a meeting next week. Thanks for joining. Hello, does a foreign company wishing to store goods in the EU still needs a tax representative in the EU country? So, as is the case currently. If so, do we need another tax representative when we do reach one or more 10,000 euro threshold. I will actually copy your questions in the chat, Chris.
Okay. So store goods in EU still needs a tax representative in EU country, as in the case currently. If so, do we need tax representative? When do we reach the okay. Non-EU companies as well as EU companies can use the OSS registration and reporting. There are countries where you still will require the fiscal representation, like you know that in the pan-EU program we have Poland, France, Italy, Spain. That you still will need those countries' fiscal representation. Tax representation, maybe that's what you meant here, but tax representation is a bit a general expression. Fiscal representation, fiscal representative, is what is required in those couple countries. This will not change. This will not change with OSS. It will not change with deemed supplier unless the local governments define some special law for non-EU companies selling only via online marketplaces. But for the moment, there is not such a project anywhere on the table. So there is nothing that we can see here that would impact that topic.
Chris, another question from Catherine about the invoicing rule. If the marketplace is the deemed supplier, I understood that it's mandatory. The marketplace should issue the VAT invoice to the final customer. In your presentation, you mean that the final consumer will get 2 invoices by the end. So I guess she needs clarification about that.
All right. So the transaction that will happen through the deemed supplier would be containing of 2 steps. The first one would be that the marketplace will self-invoice themselves. It's an expression used where you are buying a product, and normally when you buy a product, you get an invoice, right? But in this case, they would buy the product from you, and they would anyway be the party that is issuing the invoice. That's why it's self-invoicing. That invoice is relevant for you and for them. So it actually should be reflected in both books. You will get that invoice from Amazon. You will get probably I would say they will do it once per month, not to make too much red tape about it. Where you're gonna have that invoice with all those transactions mentioned that happened during the month. And that invoice is not for the client. It's just for online marketplace and you. The client will get an invoice from Amazon. That's important to know, yeah? From Amazon, they will get the invoice with the VAT.
Okay, another question, Chris, from Konstantinos. What if you're an EU seller and you sell in Amazon UK? You have to be a company if you're a sole proprietor. Okay, let me copy your question in the chat.
Okay. Well, this question is addressed more to UK topics, and we are now on a maybe that's also something to clarify. These changes that we now talk about are only for EU, and as UK is not part of EU anymore, nothing that we speak about now is actually maybe not okay. Just one more time to clarify that. We are here about the changes that are happening in Europe, but there were similar changes introduced in UK for non-UK companies. So the part that we have here now for non-EU companies, there is a similar legislation that was introduced in UK for non-UK companies, but that's the only place where it links. Yeah, of course the OSS reporting, it's not relevant there because that's only for EU states. Yeah? So in regards what you have to do, well, basically selling to UK is an export in EU. You are exporting your goods. Yeah? The regulations in UK that put this deemed supplier obligation on online marketplaces like Amazon will have the same effect as we have been speaking about the non-EUs. So Amazon will collect your VAT and then they will pay you only the net amount. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Here's another question. I am a non-EU seller selling via my own website, goods stored outside of Europe. Do I need to appoint an iOS intermediary?
It all depends on how do you sell your products, basically. Yeah. So you have your own website, and you sell it to your let's say those final customers. And I guess you are now thinking about making those shipments duty paid already. Yeah. So if you think about doing that, so your customer will actually get the product without any custom or VAT burdens on top of it, then indeed you would need to have a representative for IOSS. This presentation is more for OSS because IOSS is a different scheme, is a different topic that's more relevant to customs. And currently, on this webinar, we are more focused on VAT transactions.
In regards to iOS, we have partners who are dealing with the customs questions. So after the event, once we send you the recording, feel free to get back to me and I'll connect with the customs partner who can actually answer those questions exactly. Actually, there are a few more questions from Kevin. I have a client who is on the flat rate scheme in the UK where we're based, so his VAT is 8%. Amazon is taking all the 20 VAT on his sales, even to the UK customers. Is there a way to reclaim the 12%, which should actually be his, I guess, the sellers? Let me actually copy you in the chat, Chris.
I actually cannot answer this question without checking it with our UK tax accountant.
Okay, so
because that's
okay.
not relevant. That's a thing about flat rates and the changes that are more focused on the local legislation. I honestly would need to follow up on this one.
Okay, so we'll answer those questions after the event. So feel free to send them to us because we're having a lot of questions right now. So please send those after the event and we'll answer them. So another one, sorry, Chris.
One second, Nick, because just closing the topic that Catherine was asking about. So
Okay.
indeed, Amazon is the one sending the invoice to the final client in this case. So for a non-EU selling within EU via Amazon, Amazon is the one issuing the invoice. And in case of an shipment from outside EU, Amazon is also the one issuing the invoice.
Okay. Okay, so another last question from Catherine. The marketplace should add the breakdown of customs duties on the VAT invoice. I'm not sure, Chris, can you answer that, or we need to connect them with our with Hello Customs for that?
But what is the question? Do they need to add those to the invoice or what?
Or with the customs? Let me just read it to you again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me just find it. Okay, the marketplace should add the breakdown of customs duties to the VAT invoice. That's the question.
Do they have to add it?
Exactly.
It's not regulated anywhere because as far as the concept goes, they should collect the VAT, sales VAT. The custom duties, no, I don't think so. But yeah, as said, this is more a custom area. And as far as I understand the concept here of this kind of situations, this below 150, it will be handled by Amazon, and the VAT will be everything that is going to be charged. The customs should not be charged there. Yeah, it's not applicable for all types of products as well, but that's it's a different topic here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, one question from Dan Murphy. Irish company is acting as a distributor for its UK group companies who are selling goods across all EU. Does the Irish company need to register across multiple member states as sales will be greater than 10,000 euro?
Irish company is acting as a distributor. Okay, so this Irish company, I guess, is the one that is taking care of the shipments, right, to final clients. Is this the only thing that they do? Do they
Actually,
participate?
that's the
Um,
question. Hey, Dan, can you clarify a little more, or if you actually we're gonna answer like a few more questions and we're ending the webinar. So after we send you the recording, you'll be able to, I guess, get the full picture because obviously we need some information from you guys. So we cannot answer everything. Just a second. Another question here from an anonymous attendee. Non-EU seller is storing goods is storing in EU using Amazon. I'm a Chinese seller storing goods in French Amazon warehouses. I'm registered for VAT in France. I use my normal French VAT return to reclaim the French VAT on import I paid to import my goods into the France Amazon warehouse. I need to issue an invoice to Amazon to account for the sale of my inventory to them. I guess sub question one: should it state my French VAT number on the invoice to Amazon? What is the amount to be invoiced?
yeah, as said, I don't think that you will be doing that because Amazon needs to have a control over what is the net amount for that invoice. So they will be self-invoicing themselves for transactions that will be taking place from your warehouse in France, and they will place your French VAT for on that invoice for sure. Yeah.
Okay, another question from let me just check here from S Han. He's just qualifying something. German company enrolled in Amazon Pan-EU program, then goods are stored in Germany, France, Poland, Italy, etc. For example, Italian customer will receive goods from Italian warehouse. This kind of transaction is excluded from the OSS, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's correct.
And you need all the VAT IDs for all the countries where you store. Second part of the question.
Okay. Okay, another question from James. OS intermediary can be an accountant use acting as a VAT agent only. I think that's in regards to customs again, right, Chris?
I don't know. I didn't know. Where is it? Where's the question?
It's in the Q&A section.
In Q&A section. Okay, let me go. The top right.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, but I do not see it.
Sorry, actually, I'll just type it in the chat.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that's the question.
Can you please read it? I cannot find it.
Yeah, okay, sure, here it is. An An IOSS intermediary can be an accountant acting as VAT agent only. That's the question. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
okay. Here, okay. It was so little that I didn't see it. Okay. For IOSS to be the person appointed, let's say if you would like to be appointed as an agent for a non-EU customer, then keep in mind that you have a certain obligations on your side, yeah, which are which in this situation you might be jointly liable for VAT payments. The thing is that you need to be from EU for sure. So if you have a EU company, then you could be acting. All depends also on local countries' regulations. Maybe you have some regulations in your countries that would say to be the custom agent you have to meet certain conditions. As I really cannot tell because that's different per country. If you met those conditions, then definitely you can become also a representative for IOSS. considering the risks there, yeah, behind it.
Okay, another question. If you're an EU seller and you manufacture them in the UK and sell your products on Amazon UK, you charged VAT when you buy goods. Okay, when you buy goods, I mean, you charge VAT also when you sell to the UK customers, where you pay your VAT. I'll actually type. I'll copy your question as well.
If you are a EU seller and you manufacture them in UK,
And
right?
sell
Okay,
sell
so
you
you
sell
manufacture them in
sell
UK.
sell them in Amazon UK.
Yes, you sell them on Amazon UK. You charge the VAT when you buy the goods. Okay, they are okay. So you are not a manufacturer; you are buying them from manufacturer in UK, I guess. You don't have your own factory, I guess, right?
Okay.
So if you are buying them from UK, you have probably you have a storage there as well. You have a VAT that you could reclaim, yeah. But then you are selling them via Amazon, and Amazon is anyway collecting your VAT and selling it with that VAT to your clients. And your question is then, I guess, can you claim that purchase VAT back? Because that's something which would be a normal procedure. Yeah, you are then indeed entitled to claiming that VAT back from purchases, as long as you have VAT registration in that country, of course.
Okay, another question from Catherine, but I think that's for Hell Customs, our partners. The details of customs duty, VAT plus customs duty. Hell Customs can actually answer that. Catherine, after the event, I'll connect with them and they can actually help about the customs questions, because only we deal with the VAT registration and filing in the EU. Another question from Trevor Borrell. Are you going to do a separate meeting with regard to IOSS? I assume if we do that, we need to do it with a partner, with Hell Customs, right, Chris?
Yeah, there are a lot of topics in IOSS topic that we are not included because basically we are not focused on customs, and that's a customs topic. That's, although it's a simplification in that area, still all the documentation needs to be collected and provided in a proper way, which is then also actually dependent on the country where you do it.
Okay, so after the event, after you get the recording and the details, there you'll see my email. I'm running the partnership with HelloTax, and I have around 200 partners in the e-commerce industry, customs, fulfillment. So if you have any inquiry, just feel free to send me an email, and if we don't offer that, I'll be able to connect with somebody. Another question from Ruta. What is the impact of the excisable goods with OSS? It's excess duty, I guess. No, this is probably what she means. Excisable goods with OSS.
Okay. I don't know. Sorry, I think we would need to follow up on that question.
Okay, Ruta, please send us an email after the event, after we get the recording, and we'll be able to get back to you on that. Another question. I think there is two more and we're done, because I guess there is plenty more you can follow up with us after the event. What is the best solution to seller in Amazon if you have a Portuguese company and stock in Germany?
What is the best solution to seller in Amazon if you have a Portuguese company and stock in Germany? I think we replied to that already on in a similar question. Definitely register to OSS in Portugal and report all your transactions cross-border from your warehouse in Germany in that report. You anyway need to have a registration in Germany, and everything that is a domestic sale or B2B sale needs to be reported in Germany. But at least registering for OSS will take away the obligation of registering in any country you ship your products to from Germany.
Okay, and this is the last question, guys, from Kevin. Presumably, our clients in the UK who sell distribute within the EU. need to register for VAT in each country where they sell / store stock, correct? Regardless of their turnover, as we're no longer part of the EU.
Okay, can you please repeat the question? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
let me just type it to you. Okay, I'll just send it in the chat.
Okay, let me read that. Presumably our clients in the UK who sell, distribute within the EU need to register for VAT in each country where they sell, store stock. Well, sell and store are two different situations. So if you ask me about do they have to register in each country that they sell to, no. If they have to register in each country they store in, yes. So that's it, I think, for that question.
Yeah,
If you store, you have to register. If you don't want to register to each country you ship to, but from EU, so not from UK, because that's export import transaction. Something, it's not a distance sale, it's not a cross-border distance sale. But if you sell from France to Germany, then this is the cross-border distance sale, and then to avoid the registration in the destination country, you have to register for OSS within EU as well.
Okay, Chris, that was the last question. So thank you for everybody who joined the event. For those of you who didn't, we'll obviously send the recording with all the questions. So feel free to send us an email with your inquiry, and if I can help you out, I'll do that. If not, I'll connect you with one of our consultants. We have consultants who speak English, German, French, Italian, Polish, Turkish, Bulgarian. So obviously we can help you out for that. The company is fully remote, so we provide the solution to actually help out your clients and partners. Like I mentioned, we have plenty of partners in the e-commerce industry. So we are not experts in everything, but for sure I have somebody who can actually help you out. So feel free to outreach to us. We have some promotion, but I think pricing is not the important thing today. We're providing a lot of value with these events, as you see, and the idea is to actually help out our partners and clients to expand. Because if you're not VAT compliant and if you don't do anything, you don't sell, you don't make money, so nobody wins it then. So thank you, Chris, again, and I guess we'll go for now. And guys, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, because we're doing events with partners every 2 weeks. Like I said, this was only health talks because the topic is very important and we needed to cover it in bigger detail. So thank you again and enjoy the rest of the day.